A list of creationist arguments. Ethics, Part 3. Survival of the fittest implies might makes right. Evolution leads to social Darwinism. Marx admired and corresponded with Darwin. Darwinism encourages communism. Okay, does Darwinism encourage communism? Not exactly. Communism, mid-1800s, based on the Communist Manifesto, was a simple explanation as to what the problem was with all this incorporation of power by big business. Communism doesn't actually automatically mean the Communist Party of Russia or the Communist Party of China. Communism is a brand that happened to be around that they used when they were taking over. For example, socialism was a thing when Hitler's right-wing party, right-wing religious party, took over Germany. When the Russians revolted against the Belarusians, the rich people, the royals and so on, they were socialists, with the majority left-wing Russians being Mensheviks. Mensheviks were left-wing inclusive, Bolsheviks right-wing exclusive. The Bolsheviks slaughtered the Mensheviks, took on a different brand. Using that brand, they became a powerful communist state, and blah blah blah, communism, so on. Before Hitler was a thing, King Leopold II of Belgium was a thing. He murdered 10 million people as a, and this is true, royal colonialist who privately owned his colony, a colony he got after his dad tried for 50 times to get a colony. So we have an extreme capitalist, a socialist, and a communist. Oh, and before you say, well, yeah, communism is the worst deal, so on and so on. Okay, then I guess by virtue of that logic, Indonesia is the Indonesian genocide against communists by the capitalists, blah blah. So, what the hell is wrong with you? These are not real arguments. Research what you're talking about. Eugenics was perfected in America. Eugenics doesn't come from Darwin. Eugenics comes from one of his cousins. And the American movement for eugenics is heavily influenced by politics that were religious reinterpretation in order to help big business when slavery was becoming a thing hundreds of years beforehand. And that's it's politics. It's all kinds of politics. Also, Marx was some guy who lived in his apartment and was really, really poor, and his friends were like revolting against bad people who were tormenting them for appalling conditions. He didn't directly create the Communist Party himself. He didn't slaughter millions of people himself. He spent his life identifying ideas about how to run a communist, so on. It was supposed to be a reason-based thing, not Lysenko. Just like America was supposed to be governed by a cult of reason, by reason, which is strongly influenced by this French political movement called the cult of reason. Read up on Jefferson. But I don't automatically complain about McCarthy when I'm talking about the origin of your country. I could be complaining about a lot of things about the origin of your country, including, among others, the desolation of Native Americans, the New Light movement, one of the leaders of the New Light movement, reinstating slavery in Georgia, and yet Georgia was a part of your country when your country was a thing. Lots and lots of things. I mean, I could make a case that you actively, decade by decade, have been rewriting your own history into a fanatical mythology that technically classifies a giant part of your country as a cult, as an actual cult. I could make a very good case that you are, in fact, a cult. American Republican religious people that I'm assuming are listening to this, if you're a creationist from a different country, well, you're equally as stupid. Yes, I am calling you stupid, because you don't research stuff. Okay, so, evolution leads to social Darwinism. No. Social Darwinism is a term that is used by bigots to mess around and explain why they get to be the boot. That's you. That's you. You think you're social Darwinists, but you're calling it a different thing because you actively rewrite your own history. Just because something is used a lot by Hollywood doesn't mean it's a thing. Survival of the fittest implies might makes right. Survival of the fittest is survival of the most likely to not die. It doesn't... If you use it in that context, it implies that. If you use it in a scientific context, it implies that depending on the conditions you survive more. It's not explicitly about strength or anything. That's your mythology about what other people say. Stop making straw men.